gotta get this paper out, I don't want to know what's right? Too long. Yes, sir. It'll always be a whole number. Remember, consecutive is in a row. Odd, ends with 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Even, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 0. Like the way Jason's working. Like the way Taj is working. Can you see that? All right, gentlemen. So who has an idea of what we're doing for number 2? How do we start? Yeah, Josh. The multiples of 24. Numbers would have to equal 24, you're right. 24 divided by 3. Okay? And what'd that give you? 8. And then step 2. 8 is now your midpoint, right? And remember, when we went over the key terms the other day, consecutive meant 1. What does consecutive mean? So besides Josh. Rashid. Right next to each other in a row. Good. Alright? And was there odd or even attached to this?
Even.
There's even attached to it? So go. Pause. Is there even attached to that problem? Yes. Okay? Jacoby, make sure you raise your hand next time, all right? So, keep it going. Now, we know 8 is the middle. So, what are the 2 closest even integers next to it?
6 and 10.
6 and 10. Now tell me something. If you added 8, 10, and 6 together, would it equal 24?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Yes? So, right here. That's the whole thing we did, all right? Now for number 3, I threw you guys a little hiccup, all right? A little different. How does, someone raise your hand and read the last part of that problem to me.
Find the smallest integer.
I'll call out. Taj, read the last part for me. Find the smallest integer, all right? So that wasn't just find the 2 consecutive integers, it was finding the smallest one out of the 2. So, what was the first step someone did for the third one? Yes, sir? 33 divided by 2. And what did that give you? 16.5. Good. So 16.5, but we know our answers can only be whole numbers. So if our answers can only be whole numbers, Cameron, and there's only 2 integers, what do you think 16.5? What do you think are the 2 integers that we should be using? So we have 16.5. That's our midpoint, right? We have 2 integers, so 2 numbers that are consecutive that equal 33. So we know that we need 2 whole numbers, with 16.5 being the middle, that are eventually going to equal 33. So what are the 2 numbers that we should be using? What are the 2 closest numbers to 16.5? 2 numbers. You gave me 15, 16, and 17. You have 16 and a half. 16 and 17. Good. 16 and 17. Now, which one, is this my final answer, 16 and 17?
No.
No. What's my actual answer? Someone raise your hand, tell me. 16. Smallest number, okay? So on the SAT, that is the question. The answer is 16. And someone raise your hand, actually anyone, raise your hand if you guys got your PSAT scores back. Frank, I know you did, Josh, Jason. So most of you guys got your PSAT scores back, right? Was anyone really thrilled with how they did? I know when I was in school, I wasn't happy with how I did on the PSAT. And I think from the geometry class that I teach, I told you guys that today we'll be working on our basic math skills, all right? We need to get better at just being able to do numeration and operations off the top of our head without any help off the calculator, okay? Because when we're working with the advanced formulas that are on the SAT, there are some just being able to square something, being able to multiply something or divide it, it has to be quick, all right? Plugging everything into the calculator, there's only a certain amount of time you have for everything. Yes?
So, wait, isn't it Keystone just like the SAT or something like that?
No. The Keystones is a state exam specified on a certain subject. The SAT is a broad comprehensive exam that combines multiple subjects to test your aptitude for college. They're much different.
Would you imagine Keystone, something like that? It said that on the
So, Josh, what are you getting at? So, today we're going to be working in pairs, all right? I'm going to split you guys up into pairs, and we'll all be rotating, you guys be working with some different people. So, yeah, good. I'll split you guys up into pairs right now, just who you're going to be starting with. Once I split you guys up, I want one of you guys just to move to the other one, all right, so you guys can be sitting next to each other. So Leo, you're going to start with Herman, Rashid, Ed, you guys can work together. Kobe, you guys can work together right here. Mark and Frank, Taj and Jason. What's your name again, sir? I apologize. Lamar. Go ahead. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You're right here, Ramar, Jason, you with Taj, and you two can work together, Cameron and Alex. So let's move together right now. It means we should be moving, fellas. Frank, you should be up out of your seat, or Mark, be moving. Jason, go next to Taj. Go Ed, next to Rashid. Leo, Herman, when you guys have to move, let's go. Thank you, Edward. Guys, please remember that during this exercise, this group activity, if anyone's off task, all right, we should ask you guys to leave, step outside the hallway. And as always, love conversation. See how that goes. So this did not come out how I wanted it to, but this is what I call the math throwdown, all right? The first person in your pairs to 5 wins, all right? What you guys are going to be doing is one person, so if I was paired with Herman, I'm going to formulate a question, all right? The rules are, I cannot use any numbers bigger than 3 digits, and I cannot do anything more than 2 steps, all right? So for example, 304 times 2, which is 608, and then I divide it by 4, and I would have to be able to do all of that in my head. The person doing the problem in their head has a full minute to do it. The person formulating the question has 35 seconds. I'll be timing everything, all right? And the way this is going to work is, again, if I'm paired with Herman, the person who's formulating the question can use your calculator. So once I'm done speaking, you guys can all get your calculators out. I'll have my calculator, and I'll punch in a question real quick. So forth, 304 times 2 divided by 4. I'll give that to Herman. He'll have a minute to figure that out. I had my calculator, so I already know what the answer is. I give him the full minute. If he gets it right, he chalks one up for himself. I will trust you guys to keep score and to be gentlemen within each other, okay? I will get to the rules as far as judge and jury and who makes the final decision and say what, but I trust you guys to be grown men in this classroom, so I trust you guys to actually be able to police yourselves, and I don't expect a lot of bickering. I don't want to hear, hey, he cheated, yada, 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 all right? Just get right to the point and let's have fun with this. Secondly, the last man standing will get a get out of jail free card from me, all right? What that means is that you can use it for whatever within this SAT prep class. It does not apply to any of my students that I have in another section of class, all right? You can use it as a free homework pass if you don't want to do homework that night. You know, if for some godforsaken reason one of you guys gets in trouble and I end up having to give someone in this class eventually this year a detention, hey, you know what, Mr. D, I won this game, I don't have detention tomorrow. All right, like no problem. You had it, you earned it, all right? So in life, you get what you earn, so if you would like something like this, then earn it, all right? So what's gonna happen is, whoever's the first one to 5 moves on. The winner of pairs are gonna move together. The people who didn't move on, you'll just pair up with the other section from the people who lost. I'll help you guys facilitate that. Let's just get off to a good start. Finally, let me just, I am the judge and jury. If you guys have a problem, raise your hands and I will be over. I will be timekeeping, okay? I do not want this to turn into a disaster. I don't expect 3 different groups to be bickering with each other. As I said, just be cool with each other, all right? And please, no whining, all right? A lot of the other group things that we've done in some other classes, everyone wanted to talk about people cheating, and they wanted to be like, oh, yada, 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 all right? If someone scored a point and you didn't think it was within the time limit, raise your hand, I'll come over, we'll talk about it, and we'll get it done, okay? All right? So let's get started. If anyone wants to grab their calculator right now for use of when you're using a question, feel free to get up and grab your calculators right now. You guys can use your phones. You can use your phones as calculators. There's one rule to using the phone in this classroom. If I see you doing anything other than being on a calculator, all right, I will take it and it's mine till tomorrow. All right? So, and that's, no, I'm going to go give it to Miss Stewart, and she's going to hold on to it till tomorrow morning. I'm not even going to keep it on me, it's just going to be in the desk. All right? No questions asked. So please stay on the calculator only. All right? I don't want to have to deal with it, and I know you guys don't want your phones taken away. And again, you guys are grown men. I'm not trying to, so just stay on to what you're supposed to be doing. All right? So now starting with your partners, we're going to have the first 35 seconds to formulate a question, starting in about 20 seconds. All right? Who has any questions? Start off. Joshua. How do you determine who goes first? Pick it yourselves. All right? You guys can decide who goes first.
Are we making our own questions?
The person who picks to goes first, you are going to be answering the question first. The other person is formulating the question. All right? So Jacoby, if you decide to formulate the question first, you have 35 seconds to write down a question, and then he has to do it in his head and give you an answer. Okay? All right? So guys, take 30 seconds to figure out who's going first and what. All right?
Okay, so, for example, they put 3 or 4. So whatever I give you, you can't remove.
Guys, when it's silent in here, I'll know that we can start. If your answer is decimal, guys, you have the calculators in front of you. Do the best you can. All right, this is supposed to be a learning activity. Don't give your partner something that's going to end up as a fraction or a decimal. All right, we're going to do plenty of work with that. This is quick numeration. All right, figure out a question that's going to work. All right, does that answer your question? Did that answer your question, guys?
No.
No?
No, that's not my question. Like,
Okay.
under CC always come with decimals, when you're gonna make it to
Use whole numbers.
yeah.
All right.
So,
All right.
and they
Make
can
sure you guys
answer a whole number too.
So are we good?
Mr. Stiller,
Yes, Mr. King.
we got a question.
Mark?
No, I'm saying, can you come here?
Oh, you said you got a question, we think like you got a question, we can
What's
answer.
up? What's up? What's up, bud? Okay. So, Mark's gonna make a question, right? After he makes the question, you're gonna have a minute to answer it. If you get it right, you get a point. If not, then you don't, and then you make a question for him, alright? And we'll go back and forth. You can write on paper as far as questions, but all the math work has to be done in your head, alright? No writing down, no using the calculator. Edward, you had one last question before we get started. Rashid?
I can't write it down?
What?
Can't write it down?
No. Using nothing but your brain. Yeah. Alright? Alright, gentlemen, we're gonna be getting started. We're gonna have 35 seconds to make our first question. Alright, starting now.
So you can't tell me his question yet?
No, he can't tell you his question until I tell you he can tell you his question. Alright, I'll let you know when the 35 seconds is up. Alright, 35 seconds is up. You can share your question with your partner. Alright? So the minute that you have to answer your question, his question, excuse me, is starting now. Alright? Good. What's your question? Ask him. What are the numbers you use? Yep.
Cool. And then I'll come over to that. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yo.
There you go, Jason. Yes, question?
No.
What question you guys have? What's the question? If you get the answer correct, you get a point.
Wait, so like,
First person, 5 points. What's up? Yeah, you can charge.
are we supposed to go back and forth?
Yep. Now you guys switch. Okay? The person who is asking the question becomes the person answering the question. The person answering the question becomes the person asking it. You guys switch roles. Alright? If you just answered the question correctly, you got a point. If you didn't, you did not get a point. Okay? The first person in your pair to 5 points moves on. Okay? Wins. So guys, gentlemen, next person's up on the clock. Alright? You have 35 seconds to formulate your question.
She's not here, what am I supposed to do?
I'll get it.
Yeah.
Wait, you said it's supposed to be 2 steps, right?
It can be. It's up to 2 steps. I'll give you the question. You get my question right. Not win the whole thing. You get a point. I don't need to write that over there. That's fine. Hey, gentlemen, let's keep it appropriate over there.
You said divided by 2?
Alright, so now ask your partner the question that you just made, and if he answers it correctly, he gets a point. Okay? Alright. So 112 times 2. And divided by 2.
Oh, it's my turn.
So,